G'day, how the fuck are ya? Hope you're having a shit one. Welcome to editing your photos. This time I'm not gonna get drunk and do it. And also, you may notice that there is something different. I'm wearing a blue top here. Usually I do not wear this. Usually I just wear this green jacket. And that is the only thing different about this video. Oh yeah, wait, before we get into it, I made an Instagram story saying that I'm gonna edit a whole bunch of people's photos. So if you wanna send your photo in next time, just keep a lookout on my Instagram at North Borders. I reckon I'm gonna bring the exposure up here. Most of the time when I like to edit a photo, I just like to see what I'm working with here. So I'm looking at the left of the image here, we can bring down the highlights quite a bit actually. It's a very noisy photo though. We get a 6400 ISO. I also feel like we can make this little tuk-tuk thing or whatever the fuck that thing's called. We can make that the central part of the image. I think the crop needs to sort of come in a bit. Sometimes just playing with the vibrance slider is a lot nicer than saturation, because saturation can just be, it brings up all the colors a bit too hectically at once, rather than vibrance is nicer for the whole image. I don't really know all the technical terms behind it, but just what I've noticed over editing over the years, it's nicer to sort of work with the vibrance rather than the saturation. And I'm gonna click M and get into a nice graduated filter. God damn, I feel relaxed editing here. I'm gonna darken the sky a little bit here. And now Shift M for a radial filter. The center part here. Oh yeah, that's already making heaps of difference. And I want to affect a real sort of low and wide part of the image here. A bit more saturation to the center of the image. Bring the viewer's eye in. And now I'm going to drag one from the bottom here and also drop the exposure quite a bit and also bring up my clarity. And I'm also going to drop my temperature. So I want the ground to sort of match the sky a bit because the ground's very orange here, as you can see. And I'm going to bring the temperature down on the road to make it a bit more black. My brightness full? Yeah. Very glary here. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. I'm gonna come to the tone curve here. I'm gonna bring up my highlights quite a bit. My shadows here, I'm gonna bring maybe a little bit of fade, and then maybe we can make these yellows pop a bit more. And we're gonna try and noise reduce this image a little bit. So you can see here on the little details section here, it has another little thumbnail of where it is sort of noticing the most amount of noise. And the sharpness of the image, especially if this is just being posted to Instagram, it's fine. And then when I come into my noise reduction here over my luminance, I'm gonna click it, and then I'm also gonna hold Option while I move the slider. And in my little thumbnail here, it's gonna show me what it's actually affecting. So it seems like we're already bringing quite a lot of noise reduction in, maybe 30%. And I can do the same for my detail. And it switches to black and white when you hold Option, which helps you locate a lot more of the noise. Every single one of these color grading things, grab it, drag it out, and then literally just do a 360 with your mouse and just sort of watch the colors and how they move, like a little disco, like woo, woo, woo. But sort of, you want to be looking at what works and complements with your image. You don't always have to noise reduce as well. You can even add more grain to your photo to give a bit more of a street, grungy feel. And I'm also going to drop the luminance in my shadows to crush my blacks a little bit more. Or maybe bring it down. Ooh, yeah, I just figured something out. Let's come back to my first mask here. And we'll drag it from the top and let's just drop it. Let's just drop it dramatically and then come into the second one and bring this up a bit more. Before, after. I feel like there's quite a bit of glare in this image. Let me just try something real quick. Oh, oh, my own studio now. Oh, that's so much better. Oh, look at this picture here. Can you see me all right still? Got quite a bit of fog. Wait, hang on. What the fuck is that? A JPEG? A JPEG image? Are you fucking kidding me? I said raw photos only. I'm gonna have to throw a rock in the pond now. Yeah. Fuck you. Sending me JPEG pictures. Go down with this heavy rock. 1, 2. Fuck you. Oh. Don't send me JPEGs. All right, I'm gonna bring up my exposure quite a bit. So I just want to see what we're working with here. It's not too bad actually. You know what? A JPEG image during the day, I'll cop it. That was a bit of over exaggeration, so I'm sorry about that. Let's bring my shadows down a bit to give a bit of oomph to the image, you know what I'm saying? Because otherwise it's a bit flat, like without it. So I do like the dark greeny sort of tint here. So I'm gonna do that. Right click, copy settings, and we're gonna paste it to all of these settings as well. I'm gonna bring it down instead of up because I don't want all the image to be affected with more of the highlights. I want more of the shadows to be affected down. Let's try graduated filter again here. So I'm gonna bring this down, bring the exposure down to the top part of the image because I wanna see some of those buildings in the background. Let's try bringing the exposure down a bit now. Shift M, let's get another radial filter going. And this time it's just gonna be affecting this part of the image here. And I'm gonna bring some exposure up again. Dehaze down a bit as well, just to get that nice haziness going in the photo here. And because it's been raining, we've got a lot of details in the ground. So I've pressed K and I'm in my brush tool now. We're gonna brush sort of this section really roughly. And I'm literally just gonna add more clarity into the ground here. And maybe even some more color. And I'm doing my 360s again. Oh, I do like a really sort of grungy look. So even those dark blues here do look quite nice. And I think I'm gonna go with that. Let's have a look. Let me just get into my little den again, just to make sure. Oh, okay. Before, after. Oh, okay, that's a bit too much color, I think. Okay, we're gonna bring some saturation down a little bit and also some exposure down a little bit. Shadows down a little bit and a little less of the blue color in it. Yeah, I think I like that a bit better. Before, after. Get that nice, grungy, rainy, moody feel to it. Oh, fuck yeah, S14 to the fuel station. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! Let's try a radial filter. I'm gonna drag it over the car and click invert so it's affecting everything, just about everything except the car. And I'm gonna bring my exposure down quite dramatically and also some clarity up in the image too. And then bring the temperature down in that. Wow, this jacket makes a huge difference when I can actually see what the fuck I'm editing. No wonder people edit inside. Back in we go, boys. And then also we're gonna select over the car here. So we have the car as its own layer. For the wheels and tires are clearly black. So we're gonna bring some saturation out of them. All right, now let's try and add a bit more color into it. So we're gonna come into our color grading here and then we're gonna go across to the sort of dark blues here. You know, dark blue and green. This is looking pretty good already, but a massive difference what that's gonna make in this image is actually doing a bit of Photoshop. So I've done editing comps in the past, and sometimes what I like to look out for is some photos, they don't need a hectic amount of Photoshop. Like this one, honestly, is a really great photo. So when we come into Photoshop here, we're gonna right click, edit in Adobe Photoshop. And like, I think they're leaves, but they look like pieces of gum stuck to the ground. So I'm gonna click J, spot healing brush tool, and just literally go over. Oh, I'm not gonna spend all fucking day on this, but you get the point. So before, after, there's like some more over here we can obviously do. And that would also make a huge difference to your image, but it just cleans it up, man. It's just gonna make it look so much better. All right, let's look at the before and after real quick before we go over to the next image. So we got before, after. Probably could have brightened up the car a bit more, but we have other people's photos to edit. Oh, this is a really nice one. Maybe this way is probably better as well. And let's really make these colors pop. So we're gonna come into the orange, saturation up, yellow, saturation up. Well, that's not quite enough. We're gonna come into the brush tool here, and I'm gonna brush around all of this part here. And now we can sort of play with these colors a bit more. Get that autumn feel. Oh mate, that's a huge difference already. I'm gonna come into the tone curve here, and I'm gonna bring some fade into this image. Fade it, fade it, fade it, and then crush it. Nice, and even in the blue tab here, we can bring it across to the oranges a bit more. It's getting that like pumpkin spice latte look. Okay, I know you manly men watching this don't want to admit what that is, but you know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that pumpkin spice latte, Tumblr girl, fucking autumn fall look. You know what I'm talking about. This is the look we're going for here. We're gonna bring the blues out of the image. We don't need any of those in this one. And even some of the greens I see affecting the car here as well. So we can bring those out too. Very nice. Simple edit. I like it. Before, after. Honestly, what a photo. God damn. I feel like the car could have just driven a bit more forward to be a bit more aligned with this thing, whatever the fuck that thing is there. That dynamic range is very, very good. I feel like that preset could work well if we take some clarity out and up the exposure a bit. What if we brought the shadows up on that and brought a graduated filter down from the top here and brought some exposure up? Wow, this is a fucking hard picture to edit. Yeah, I feel like, okay, we probably need to bring some shadows up And let's try and get this temperature right. Okay, definitely highlights down look a lot better because you can see more of those tail lights. This car looks like it's in a video game, man. A little bit of vibrancy up. You can take a little bit of saturation down. And then maybe if we come into the color grading here, oh, that is very cyberpunk. I do like those pinks. The pinks in the image, I really want to work with those. Radial filter, we're gonna, I think, chuck one of those over the center of the car here, because that's obviously the main focus of the image. And I'm also gonna go in and add and make sure that we're getting the front of the car here as well. Oh, exposure down. This literally looks like it's from a video game. Wow, what a picture, honestly. Yeah, I do like the exposure down. Come back into our mask, bring the exposure up. All right, highlights up a bit more, I think. We'll probably play around with our shadows here. Oh, I do like that orange. Before, after. All right, got my jacket ready. Next photo we got here. Sick Ferrari F430. Could have been a bit sharper. Could have probably chucked it on a tripod, but I do not know the backstory of the photo here. First thing I'm gonna do is get rid of this fucking leaf, because that's so annoying. It's just like looking at me. I press Q, spot removal, literally decent size, bit of feather, and it goes away. All right, back in I go, boys. Dropping in the gulag. This location is very interesting. I can't tell if that's construction going on back there. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's get this image straightened up. Let's drop the exposure of it, bring the temperature across a little bit, get that nice silver back. We're gonna bring a graduated filter from the bottom here, more of the car. Maybe even this way could be better. Yeah, I think that way's a lot better. Bit more of a landscape shot than it is portrait. Texture onto it a little bit. Maybe let's take some of those blues out in the background because we don't need as many of those. And same with the purples. Let's just move those purples across the blues and drop them a little bit. And let's just bring a little bit of color into the shadows here because I think the highlights are pretty nice as is. So a little bit of maybe aqua or dark bluey. Yeah, a bit of dark bluey grunge to it. And the midtones, no, we're gonna leave the midtones as is. Maybe do the same to the highlights as well. That was very nice. Is this car dirty too? Come on, man. Oh, it's very dirty. That's why all these streaks are here. Yeah, having a dirty car when you shoot just makes the image look more low quality, because when you look at the car here, like you look at this part of the tail light, even if we zoom out a bit, it's gonna look like, look at this big fucking dot on the car here. I don't even know if that's a stone chip or that's dirt or it's just a piece of the car that's missing, just like this roughly, and take some clarity out of that part to make it look a little bit more clean. I don't know how badly that affects it. Yeah, okay, maybe that does a little bit of difference, you know? And maybe we can bring the highlights up a bit more, okay? Can save it a little bit, but not too much. And I think that is pretty, oh, fuck off. Before, after. Might have to chuck a preset onto this one. Oh, this preset's literally called nature, but whatever. Still looks sick. Oh, no, the blacks can stay down. I like how that looks. Damn, this is a sick photo. I want to see what happens if I bring a graduated filter from the sky and drop that down as well a little bit. And then bring a radial filter and select that over the middle part of the image here. Quite a bit of feathering. And if we bring that part up, bring some shadows up of that part of the image. Oh, this is sick. What a moody image. God damn. That's pretty much most of editing. It's just like literally sliding your, it's just literally going through all the sliders and just seeing what's gonna look good. The more photos that you edit and the more that you play around with all the sliders until you slowly get a feel for what you like to do, that is literally how you learn how to edit and how to find your style. The more photos you edit, the better you're gonna get. Before, after. Let's finish this video off with a bang. We've got a 918 here. That is such a boss image. I'm just gonna crop it in a little bit here already. I absolutely 100% agree with the angle here. And we're gonna get rid of some of these little spots here. That one, exposure down a bit. We have a bit of sunlight coming in on the right side of the image here. So what would happen if we just brought a graduated filter and up the exposure a bit on that side of the image? There's a little bit of blues in the car as well, so we don't need any of those. We're gonna bring some of those out. And then with our tone curve here, let's bring up the highlights a little bit. Let's make a little bit of an S curve here. Let's drop that. Maybe a bit more texture so we can really get all of this sort of beautiful engineering popping out a bit more. Oh, this is nice. Just bring in a little bit of blue here. tiniest little bit in the shadows. Makes a little bit of a difference. And let's bring a radial filter around the whole car and invert it. And let's bring the shadows down a little bit. Maybe it can be feathered a little bit less. Here we got the before and the after. You don't always need a hectic edit, especially with this. Like, there's literally not a lot going on apart from the car. Well, that is the end of editing your photos, and it's fucking freezing. You know, like I sort of didn't really think this one through, but we still edited some photos. I'm really cold and I'm actually a bit hungry as well, so I want to go do that. I always love it when I get some photos sent in to me because there are some very talented people that send me their photos. So thank you for doing that if you did participate. If I didn't get around to your photo, I'm really sorry, because there's a lot of people that send their photos in, which is great because everyone likes to get around these videos, which is awesome. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. I would probably suck at doing them and your edits are probably a lot better than mine, but whatever, it was still fun, and thanks for watching. And if you can't be fucked doing any of the editing process, I also sell some of my own presets. They come in a pack of 25. They come with their own walkthrough tutorials, plus extra Lightroom tutorials as well. So there's a little course in there, and some of my raw photos in that pack for you to edit and practice your editing on as well. So if you want to get those, they're all linked down in the description there. Dislike and unsubscribe and have a shit one, and I will see you in the next one.